Okay, the doors are closing. And good morning again. Welcome back from the break. Now we're going to have Anthony Heng from the Globamatrix organization. He's the Chief Operating Officer. And we've talked this morning about sharing information, demand challenges, being able to think innovatively. This second half of the morning, we're going to be going through effective risk management, looking at demand planning, as well as connecting lean concepts and also the sales and operations planning process together. So it should be an exciting rest of the morning to bring us into lunch. Anthony, who is the Chief Operating Officer, has 23 years of experience and more than 11 in senior management positions. And he was just sharing with me on the side that his organization owns several F&B and other products as well. So without further ado, to share with us more interesting information about that and effective supply chain risk management, I'd like to invite Anthony up to the stage.
Let me start. I will try to keep this as enlightening as possible. Yeah. So for those who can't see my face, all right, this is me. Right. I'm actually COO for Globamatrix Holding as well as Executive Director for Commonwealth Capital Private Limited. Now, what Commonwealth Capital Private Limited's company do? We actually own and operate several businesses, in particular in the food line. We are looking at Commonwealth Food Services, NYC Bagels Factory, Gelato, Gata Gelato, Swiss Bake, Swiss Treats. And for those who are very familiar with Pasta Mania, that's also under our own brand. So my working experience within the 23 years span, I actually started my life career in Sunshine Bakery. And then I moved on with Goodman Fielders, Sunshine Bakery Singapore, Bakers, Harvey Logistics, where I actually spent more than 12 years covering Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia. And thereafter, I actually went and joined AQ Logistics in Japan for 2 years. So, and then subsequently, I joined YCH Group, based in Thailand, and also run the head of cold chain for the group, 11 countries, business units. So these are the range of customers that I have worked with. I'm proud to say that I work with them. They are very good customers. Okay, over the years of working with the company, I have also need to travel. And so happened that whenever I travel, I also encountered a lot of lifetime, probably near misses, as you probably may say. Like for example, the yellow shirt strike in 2008. And then subsequently, the Jakarta bombing in 2009, right? When I was in Japan, unfortunately or fortunately, you know, we have a tsunami and earthquake. And somehow, when I go to Thailand, we have the Thailand flooding. So this really changed my mind. So I try to keep this jovial because to me, life is simple. You know, we cannot be so serious all the time. We need to have a little bit of life in our own personal, in our own personality. So what are the risks that we are talking about here? There are 7 types of risks, which I don't think I need to go into detail because all of us can read all these things in the textbooks. Yeah. So there are organization-specific risk, there are premise-specific risk, accident and neighborhood risk, system, value chain risk, public infrastructure risk, political, socio-economic risk, national geographical risk. Yeah. So all these are 7 risks that we can encounter at any time, any day of our life or of our career. So there are 6 maturity levels for risk management within a company, right? For big organization, they have everything well done, well planned. Some We are at level 1, reactive risk management. There's no sign of risk management measures, purely reactive. Yeah, so whenever risk happen, whenever some crisis happen, we start to, scramble for face masks, scramble for thermometers, the things like that happen. So these are the things that you probably see at level 1. Level 2, we have pockets of risk management, whereby some risk management activities scattered across the organizations. Level 3, basic principle of risk management. Management realizes the needs for risk management. The management realizes it, they need it. Yeah. Level 4, risk management policies formulated, and companies start to implement. Majority of workforce begin to realize the importance of risk management and accept new policies. Level 5, boardroom-driven risk management. Executive management builds a sensible risk management process and support the cause. Level 6, immerse into the total spectrum of the businesses. Risk management is a part of the corporate culture. So there are 6 different levels. Yeah? Now we should ask ourselves where we are right now and at what level we need to put ourselves at. Now, there are also 3 different types of crises: natural crisis, man-made crisis, as well as discord crisis. I won't go into details on all that because these are really textbook matters and you can actually read it from the books. The reality is management crisis in general is more costly than managing the risk. Yeah? And that's the reality. Secondly, is that good crisis management is essential, but it's never a substitute for daily risk management practices. Number 3, despite a solid risk management processes, there will be problems because we cannot predict all crises and protect against them. However, preparation and readiness will reduce the reaction time to face the challenges when crisis strikes. And 4, in most cases, the best chance for mitigating loss is in the early stage of a crisis or even before the crisis itself. Number 5, ensuring that the right risk management processes are in place on a day-to-day basis is essential to managing through any crisis to the best possible outcome for you and your customers. And last but not least, there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Every business has its own peculiarity. So you need to tailor-make to your own business requirements. Yeah. So if any of these slides that you want to take away, probably this is one that you want to take away. Risk management is again things that probably all of us know. How to mitigate the risk management? Implement BCM, right? And many companies have actually moved forward to get it implemented. It costs some money, but you will see the results whenever you have issues on hand that you cannot solve. So this scope of BCM includes all these 6 items. I won't go into details on this because any consultation company will be able to guide you through for BCM implementations. Now, important of BCM, it helps to increase an organization resiliency to business disruption and to minimize the negative impact arises from this disruption. Enable organization to continue businesses in an acceptable level of operations. Be in better position to maintain market share and customer confidence. Promote knowledge sharing and teamwork among team members and staff. Yeah. And how to start a BCM? I think, again, more importantly, there is always readily information available, for example, under bcm.org.sg. Just tap on it and you'll be able to get it implemented. If you need more detailed information, feel free, or you need more information from my side, feel free to contact me. Now, key business management program. Apart from BCM, there are many companies, in particular the established big MNCs. They have key business management program to address their day-to-day needs. Yeah? I can share a few here with you. One, for those that run logistics services, distribution center management program. There are 21 area over here. Yeah. From 1 to 21, each of them is like one textbook. So you need it implemented. You got to go through the whole details, but work in line with customers. Customers will, because end of the day, what we implement within our own organizations is meant to service and support the customers. Now, under DC contingency plan, normally we create the plan to take care of these 6 areas. DC contingency plan content list. These are items that in the listing. Now, don't worry about taking notes on all these things because eventually I will give you the presentation slides and you can actually have it to go through. Yeah, I try to go on as detailed as possible, as fast as possible, so that we can cover a lot more on the case study subsequently. Now, for the manufacturers, these are the areas, the 33 areas that you got to have in order to cover for a contingency plan, and also for a good management practices within the organizations. You look at crisis management plan is just one of the subject matters in this arrangement. Anybody will know we need a fire protection plan, yeah, and this applies in Singapore or in any other countries that we have. Now, certainly this is real, pandemic is real, you know, and we ourselves need to have a plan in place. And whenever we have this problem, we will never know, right? So for those who really have this in place, I'm sure you have N95 masks in your office, so you don't have to go and line up and queue and get recently. Now, the other one is that stock recovery and process traceability program. This is more related to how to do product traceabilities. Yeah, you have products that are sent out to the market, customer call for a recall. You know, you need to activate within certain hours due to food safety or maybe quality issues, or maybe some defects. So again, you need to identify, work it out, and have it in place. Do a trial, mock trial, run trial. You know, work closely with your customers to get it test out, so that when reality happens, it can be actually activated within a very, very short period and within the timelines stipulated. All right. So this is another number 6 stock recovery plan. Yeah. So again, these are all the crisis management program that we as organizations can have within our, and I'm sure major big MNC company will have more than that. Yeah, will have more than and have their own fine what do you call tailor-made programs to cater for your own business to that are in line with your customers' expectations. So when we talk about crisis, you know, as I mentioned, I was in Japan during the tsunami time, you know, and things happen, right? Things happen, and you know, the whole building shakes. I was on the 7th floor at that time. So this tells me that we cannot predict when crisis like this will happen, right? So if you look at it 2 years later and compare now, yeah, Japan's in these publications in 2013, I think March 12, Japan struggles to rebuild after tsunami. So, and this is real, right? Many companies are still struggling to rebuild. Of course, the major MNC have actually gone through this, overcome the problems. But smaller, you know, mom and pops shops, industry by the west side or by the east side of the whole island, they still not recovered. If you look at the next slide, you know, comparing 2013 and 2011, there's not much difference for this particular road. And all these are actually come out in newspaper. Yeah. So these are the real crisis situation that we are facing. Now, is there one size fits all solution? There's none. Yeah. You can only tailor-made to what you think is best for your own company, for your own business. And also, very important, align it to the customer's expectations. So, now, we have this Thailand flooding situation. Yeah, I'd like to share more over here, and what are the measures that has been taken by various organizations, by various companies, even by the government to support and to try to overcome these problems. In Bangkok Post publications, it's stated here that evacuation order for all those in red and in orange color. So the water really comes down from the north, yeah, and there's no choice but to evacuate. And when you look at the evacuation, you guess how big is this place compared to Singapore? You know, So really they evacuate. There's no choice. Yeah, some of them can't evacuate, but they have to go through the whole flooding situations. You know, you hear this government sacrifices Eastern Bangkok. The whole Eastern Bangkok is really flooded. Yeah, there's no choice because you need to save certain part of it, like Krabang, the Suvarnabhumi Airport. These are where you actually get a lot more thriving activities in industrial. So you need to save that. Northern part is too late to save. There's no way that the government can save it, so the water just flows through. And this map actually shows you the magnitude of the water coming down the whole place. You know, just to share with you, we have a facility at that time in Rangsit. And Rangsit is northern part of Bangkok. Because we know that the water is coming, so we've actually put all the goods on the second level of the rack. You know, from the ground floor to the second level of the rack is actually 1.8 meter. And actually from the road level to the loading and unloading dock level is another 1.3. So it's like 3.1 meter. And yet the water can still reach the goods that is stored on the second level of the racks. So imagine the amount of water that actually comes down at that time. Yeah? And these are crises. Can we predict it? We can. Yeah? Can we take some action? Probably. So it's actually, if you look at it, sometimes prevention is definitely a lot better than cure. Yeah. So I share with you some of the pictures that I've taken during my time over there. This is actually in the Lakrabang industrial estates. For those, I know some of you have plants over there, and you know what they have gone through. The whole place, the whole outskirt of Lakrabang industrial estate is completely inundated with water. Right? Completely filled up with water. And inside is dry. Because the government actually pull up all this plyboard supported by steel drums. And inside the steel drums, they fill it up with sands so that it stays. Right? And it's not just within a short meter, the whole of Lakrabang industrial estates. Yeah. Certain area that they can't put it up, they put very high 1.5 meter gravel walls. And you can see here, on the right side, you can see the water is actually filling up way higher than the left side. Yeah? And the left side is dry. The right side is wet. Imagine if, let's say, the plyboard is not covered with plastic, the water will seep through as well. So this is what the government, where they actually mobilize the whole army team to go there and fix it up for the whole industrial estates. They know because Lakrabang is just right on top of Suvarnabhumi Airport. If this place is inundated with water, Suvarnabhumi Airport will also will be having difficult problems. The top part actually shows residential houses. They actually built a very high dikes, and actually the water stays at the residential area. You know, the residential area gets flooded, but over here in the industrial area, it gets dry. So the government tried to protect all the overseas investors in that facility. Now you see this, actually that small little roof over there on the right side is actually a resting area just beside the river. Now you don't see the resting area, you only see the roof, and the water actually flow above the resting area. And these are things that shows that the water keep on coming. Yeah, the amount of waters on the road is completely unimaginable. You see a water pump over there, but it's rendered useless because everywhere is water. You can't pump it to anywhere else. You pump also, you go into water. You pump here, so you go there. So, road leading to Rangsit. Rangsit is further north. Yeah, there's no way I can go there anymore because the road is completely flooded. The northern part of Lakrabang. And many companies, apart from apart from depending on the government, they also try to take their own precautionary measures. Yeah, many of them actually protect the whole premises with sandbags. Yeah. You can see this one, actually, the whole factory shut. Yeah, they put sandbags right in front and around the perimeters. Some, they build walls, and they hold the walls with sandbags. This one, they have all erected and supported with a steel beam so that it won't collapse. Yeah. So many ways of actually doing it. And some actually spend a lot of money, in millions of dollars, just to ensure that the multi-million dollars of equipment in their facility is not affected. Yeah. So there's also the thoughts about, will this happen again? Nobody knows, right? So if let's say you were to put, very importantly is that those items that are susceptible or can be affected by water, try not to put it on the ground floor, put it on the second floor. Like for example, your IT server room, for example. Yeah. So things like that always do into due consideration when you work in certain countries. Now, these are the effects that are published. There are certain companies that there's no prospect for recovery. So in summary, spread your eggs and not to put them all into one basket. Any type of eggs, be it service, facilities, manpower, don't put them all in one location. So, yeah. Number 2, test your contingency plan. Must have a contingency plan and you test it. Don't just put it in a nicely binded book and put it in the shelf or, it got to be tested. Have adequate insurance coverage. Never assume that it will not happen. Have a whole team ready. Embrace the culture of teamwork and discipline. Learn from others. We cannot run away from crisis situation. Be customer-centric. What are customers' potential crisis issues? Yeah. So we need to be very proactive, not just during crisis, but before crisis. Right? We need to ask the customers, what are the, and sometimes we got to think like the customers. What are the issues that they potentially have? How can we support them? When tsunami happened in Japan, many of the warehouses actually cannot be used because the water really comes in and the whole racking collapse. Many of the manufacturing facilities also cannot be used. And this jeopardized the sales and supply chain to the customers, right? So in many cases, being individual companies, we don't have the solutions. We need to work together with other companies in crisis situations. Yeah. So we got to embrace crisis situation as an opportunity to learn and apply new strategies with an open mind. Crisis management systems are essentially part of our daily culture in our business practices now. It's a prerogative in any businesses worldwide. Form business alliances with other similar service provider, manufacturer for a win-win partnership. This is what happened in Japan. When the vehicles break down and you don't have vehicles to go to that particular district, you need to activate someone from the other side to come in, and that is where the partnership forms, right? We know that we have various logistics companies. There got to be some alliances somewhere that we need to bring it up to a certain level of understanding that should things happen, there is a fallback plan within the whole alliances. And number 10, be prepared at all times. Yeah. So this is another slide that if you want to have any takeaway, probably this is the one. And apart from the other one that I mentioned earlier. Right? So there's no two ways about it. There's always there's no one size fits all. Yeah. So this is my name, my email address. I don't have all the information over here. For more detailed information, please do feel free, contact me, and I'll be more than happy to share. Yeah. With that, thank you for sharing with me.
So do we have any questions for Anthony? I have a question for the audience then. How many of us feel that we would have been, if we have operations in Thailand, that we would have been ready for those floods? Just a show of hands. How many feel like, hey, I was completely ready for the floods when they came? Okay, no one. All right. So something to take away from Anthony's presentation is how much good it is to be more preventive